Coming up now on Animal Outtakes, we get a chance to visit with one of the world's rarest big cats. Plus, we find out more about these two incredible tigers and learn about the importance of conservation. And we slow it down a little bit, well, maybe a lot bit, and get up close to these sleepy sloths. This and much more straight ahead on Animal Outtakes. Often we watch things on television and research them on the internet. But nothing compares to staring into the blue eyes of a rare tiger. We recently had a chance to do just this at a conservation foundation in Gainesville, where animal welfare is the top priority. Christine, thank you so much for allowing us to come here and see you at the Carson Springs Wildlife Conservation Foundation. Did I get
it? Yes, you got it.
Okay. And you've invited two wonderful, beautiful tigers back here. Tell us about them.
Well, we do. This is Tank. He's our white tiger. And we have Tabitha, who's our golden tabby tiger. And they both have sort of a color anomaly that is either rare or extinct in the wild. The white tigers, if they're kittens, they have no camouflage, and so they get picked off by predators first. And the golden tabbies, it's just a genetic anomaly, and those are, people have captured them in the wild and they've sort of disappeared, but it's kind of a golden color rather than the orange and the black stripes.
She's absolutely gorgeous.
Oh, I know, I know. I was always hoping to have one, and when the opportunity came in to take these in for the rest of their life, we jumped at it because they are gorgeous, both of them. And Tank is an unusually large and robust specimen, and they're both characters. He loves to spray people that aren't aware that it's coming, and so if you're ever visiting a zoo and somebody says, watch out, step to the side, because the spray of urine can go back like 8 or 9 feet, but it goes straight back. So you can
And it's
dodge.
not a term of endearment.
No, it's a kind of smelly ride home in the car because you're on the roof and no one will let you in.
You have such a marvelous place here. We're just so taken with it. Where do the animals come from?
Well, our animals have come from a lot of different places. Some of them have come out of a kitten petting situation where they were bred just to be petted and that they needed a home once they reached the limit of 40 pounds. Some of them have come from bankrupt sanctuaries. It costs a tremendous amount of money to keep these animals, to provide adequate housing. And some of them are in international breeding programs and are traded for genetics with other zoos.
Now, when you talk about costs, because all of us that are taking care of animals, we're watching these costs go up tremendously. Roughly, how much does it cost to keep these two guys going?
Well, a tiger eats about 10 pounds of meat a day, and if you've been to the store, not that we pay retail prices, but 10 pounds of meat a day is not cheap. And in order to give them an adequate space, the fence panels are about $100 each. So you're probably talking $15,000 to $20,000 to $30,000 to create an enclosure for them to begin with. And then it's at least $35 to $40 a day to keep each one.
Isn't it amazing?
Yeah, people will say to us, well, what if someone has a tiger for you to take in? I said, well, mostly we can't take them because I can't ask for people to donate to just have more and more animals and then give less and less care with the same money. So the money has to come from somewhere. And so we're very careful about what we can accept because we take the ultimate care in quality, peaceful surroundings. Everything is built here for the benefit of the animal. Zoos are built to benefit the people that are coming to see them first. And I have to say, in most cases, the animals second. Here, we build everything to benefit the animals first. And so we do have tours, and we have guided tours, and we have a couple open house days. But basically, we have to raise our money through private donations. A zoo tiger has known genetics. These are what we call generic tigers. It means that they could be purebred, Bengal, or Siberian, but they could also have some mixture in there. And the difference between Siberian and Bengals is the geography, where they come from. And so these have unknown parentage, so they're not technically purebred or certified purebred like they are in zoos.
And you said they're 4 years old.
Right.
So they have a long life ahead of them.
Yes, and that's an expense every single day. And people, you know, they don't understand what it costs. I mean, people are turning their dogs in because they can't afford to feed them.
That is true. That is very true.
And, you know, these guys, they eat really well.
So you are a nonprofit.
Yes, we are.
Yeah. Medication. What do these guys require?
Well, actually very little, because they get a healthy diet and they have a very relaxing, stress-free place to live. And people are always talking about our vets. Well, we do have vets that we can call, and we have great people on standby whenever we need them, but the need is very rare. So they have their vaccinations and they have their worming, and they get a really high quality diet. None of them are fed a piece of meat that I wouldn't eat myself, quality-wise. It's not stale, it's not rotten, it's fresh meat. And so veterinary care is really minimal.
So much has been said, because both you and I have been in this business a very, very long time, about the stress of an animal that is kept in a closer habitat. I do not call this stress.
No, they are quite relaxed, and they have toys, and we play with them daily. They put on a show for the tours, but the show is really them just getting treats and running around and having a good time, so they love it when visitors come. It's not a non-stop parade of people like in a zoo to where they get stressed out by it. Here, it's like, oh great, people are coming, I'm going to get treats.
Now, do you go into the habitats here?
No, we don't. And that could cause a dangerous situation, and then it has repercussions through all other facilities as well, and it's pointless. It's really just showing off. There's no point in doing that. These cats have been hand-raised. They're wild animals, but they're tame wild animals. But the wild animal part never goes away. So they can get triggered to just attack where you would never think they would. And we don't have to go in. We can vaccinate them right through the fence. We can worm them in their food. We can treat minor things, examine them in minor ways. They're trained to stand up on the fence to do an exam. And then we have like smaller squeeze areas where are trained to go in. So if we need to examine something, or the vet does, we can do that, all without actually going in the cage.
I have never seen a tiger so tall in my life.
Yes, and they are large, but we do that with them because if they have a abrasion or a cut or something on their stomach, we can get a good look at that, and they're trained to do that. And of course, you know, food motivated. We're all food motivated.
We're all food motivated.
Right, exactly. Anybody got cookies?
I can tell the trust is here, because you came up to the fence, Barry came up to the fence, they come running. They know that no harm is going to come to them. You're nothing but compassion and love for them.
Well, we are, and they've never had a bad experience with us, and they never will. And so, you know, we all gravitate to things that make us happy, and we make them happy and they make us happy.
Christine, this is so wonderful to be able to, in our own way, under your supervision, to interact with these magnificent creatures, because you can't get this from a computer screen.
No, and the thing that people don't understand is that if zoos and animal parks good zoos and animal parks weren't in existence, these animals would become extinct very quickly. Because no one cares about an animal that they've never seen and they don't know what it is. And it's also when people say to me, I think this is an important point, when people say to me, well, I don't like zoos and we shouldn't have zoos, I say to them, that's the most elitist attitude I've ever heard. Because if you're of modest means, that means you should never see a tiger or you should never have the opportunity to see a lion because you aren't going to go to Africa or Asia. And so that's like denying people the opportunity to see these magnificent animals. And if the animals are properly cared for and they were born in these circumstances, this is what they know and this is what they're happy with.
For more on the Carson Springs Wildlife Conservation Foundation, you can go to their website at carsonspringswildlife.org. We'll be right back.
Good morning, Mr. Benson. Your breakfast is served.
Time for another day in doggy paradise. I sure am one lucky pup.
Mr. Benson, would you like to go out for your morning stroll? The weather is quite lovely today.
That sounds wonderful. Don't mind if I do. After all that exercise, I think I'd like to lounge by the pool and maybe dip my paws in.
As you wish, sir. Right this way.
What a perfect day. I couldn't imagine being anywhere else but Dante's Den while Mom and Dad are away.
At Dante's Den, we pride ourselves in providing the best experience for your beloved pup. Whether it be a day, a month, or a year, Dante's Den should always be at the top of your list for boarding. With an expansive campus, your dog will enjoy daily walks, pool time, and an endless supply of love. Even better, it's all under 24/7 supervision from our wonderful staff. If you're anything like us, your dog's safety and happiness come first. To learn more about Dante's Den, visit dantesden.org.
Every dolphin at Clearwater Marine Aquarium has an amazing tale. They're all rescues who have overcome challenges to survive and thrive. You'll be inspired by every animal story and unforgettable moments with them, including 2-year-old Apollo, our newest rescued dolphin. There's something inspirational for every kid, and kid at heart. Your visit directly supports the animal care and rescue efforts at Clearwater Marine Aquarium, celebrating 50 years of amazing tales.
Did you know Moat is helping restore depleted snook populations and has raised and released 30,000 of them into local waterways so far? The more you know about everything Moat's doing to help our oceans, the more you'll understand why Moat matters. Visit moat.org today.
Welcome back. Now we continue our wildlife adventure in Gainesville, where we get up close to the world's rarest big cat. Take a look. Well, Christine, we're looking at a magnificent creature. Of course, I feel all of yours are, but this one has got a little special look. Tell us about Siri.
This is Siri, and she's 8 years old. She's been here since she was a kitten. She's an Amur leopard, and she's the rarest cat in the world. There's only about 200 left in existence in the world, including in the wild, 50 in the wild and 150 in zoos. And they're the northernmost subspecies of leopard, and they're found in the Amur River area of Russia and China. It's a very interesting area, but it's a very interesting region in the world. And she's, like I said, the rarest cat in the world. There's less of them than any other cat species.
Now, are they still trying to hunt these beautiful creatures for their coats?
Well, there was one researcher that spent 15 years in Russia, and she only got to see a live one once. Now, I think that's called dedication.
Yeah.
And the surviving members of the species have done so because they're so elusive, and they do catch them on camera traps, and that's how they count them. But they live in the most remote area and varied conditions and harsh conditions. And so people would kill them for their pelt, but now they're so few and they're so hard to find that it doesn't happen very frequently. She was a kitten raised at another zoo that came here with the hopes of finding an unrelated male, and we were going to participate in the international breeding program. However, they're so sparse, the varied genetics, that never came to fruition, and as a result they live solitary in the wild, so she's perfectly happy not having a mate, because that would only be a temporary thing. But it is unfortunate that we really couldn't participate and contribute to increasing the population.
You had mentioned earlier that that you are conservation. You're not necessarily sanctuary, but these animals have a wonderful life here. They're not going anywhere.
Well, sanctuary officially and professionally applies to facilities that do not breed animals. Right. So we are a sanctuary for the animals that we have. We just don't call ourselves a sanctuary because we do breed for certain conservation programs that are worldwide. When they come, I tell people, well, she could carry a 200-pound man up a tree, and then that's after she bites you in the back of the neck and paralyzes you, and then you are just conscious while she starts eating you.
Now when she jumps...
You can tell, that's why they don't let me on the tours. But see, that was entertainment for her. She loved that. You know, and that's what we call enrichment.
Sure.
That, you know, that was really fun for her. Siri, when their tail goes up, they hear us. Siri! Hello, Siri!
Look at her go.
Look at Siri! Look at you, Siri! Look at you, pretty girl! Enrichment is a big factor. And so we change the toys all the time. We try to think of new and interesting things. We put different scents around the cages. We move toys from one cage to another so that they smell something different, and they have, you know, we rotate them. Cardboard boxes are always a big hit, or we'll put a piece of meat in a cardboard box, and you know, I have video of the little hyena running around with the box on his head. And so we don't want them to be bored, but we also don't want them to be bothered when they want to be left alone. So each one kind of has a little different protocols. We try to, again, we tailor everything to the animals, and when people come to visit and the animal doesn't come up to the cage, the enclosure, because it's large and it's in a bush that they like, we don't make them.
Stick around. There's more animal outtakes coming up after the break. Christine, I finally found an animal I can outrun.
Yes, you did. And I can outrun them too.
The deer sloth. They are just such wonderful, cuddly creatures. But tell me something. There seems to be a rage to own a sloth these days. Is that something that is a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, it's not a bad thing if you have the, expertise to do it, but they need very specialized care and diets. And they are still a wild animal. They can give you a really nasty bite, and they don't have enamel on their teeth, so their teeth have a lot of germs and can cause a horrible infection if they bite you.
Oh my, okay.
And so, again, mostly they don't want to bite you, but if you're trying to handle them and they don't want to be handled, that's their defense. They certainly can't run away.
Oh.
It's like I tell people here at the park, they go, what if one of the animals get loose? And I said, you only have to worry if you're the slowest one.
Yeah. Now, is it allowed, though, in Florida to own a sloth?
Well, you have to have a Class 3 license, and you have to be licensed by Fish and Wildlife, and you have to demonstrate a minor amount of expertise, but it is allowed in Florida.
Food for a sloth. Very specialized, isn't it?
Yes, it is. They're mostly a vegetarian. They do eat some eggs and things like that. But you have to be able to balance their diet with a lot of different things, because in the wild they're constantly going from tree to tree, well, slowly.
I was going to say.
Might be a week. But they go to a lot of different types of vegetation. So they have a wide range of needs as far as vitamins and minerals. And they get that. The good news is they only poop and pee about once a week. And so, but then there is a whole week's worth that comes out at once.
That might be a disaster.
And the other thing is they have to have very warm conditions. So a lot of our nights in Florida, they're too cold to stay outside without supplemental heat or houses.
The diet that you've spoken about, how often do they eat?
Well, they eat all day long when they're not sleeping. And so we feed them twice a day, and they pick at it, and then they take a nap, and then they'll have another piece of zucchini or a carrot, and then they take a nap. It's exhausting
Yes,
eating that carrot.
What a life, huh?
And as a pet, they don't do anything. So I don't know what the love affair is. They're fun to look at. They're fun to have your picture taken with. But it's like almost having a stuffed dog. I mean, if you want an animal to interact with, sloths are not the ones.
So I think we'll leave the sloths with you.
Okay.
And because they are very well taken care of here.
Well, yes, they are. And they're relaxed and happy and taking naps.
We'll be right back.
For 40 years, I'd been burying my emotions and all of the trauma.
I was grasping desperately for independence and hope. I found it with a tail and a cold nose.
I call him my battle buddy, because every time we're out in the public, he has my back.
Every time those demons start talking, he knows, and he's right there at my side. Mustang truly did save my life.
So we are calling these young pups Frank and Delilah. Frank and Delilah came out of Lake Okeechobee. We rescued them along with 7 other lab mixes. Well, hello there. And they're here. We're gonna do some leash training. As you can see, they are not leash broke by any means. They have no formal training of any kind. So we'll be spending a lot of time with Frank and Delilah. Frank is doing a little better with the leash, as you can see, but Delilah is looking for that comfort and that leadership that she desperately needs. We call it Labapalooza, and we just throw a whole bunch of labs out here and let them go crazy. So all these dogs were scheduled to be euthanized. You can see they range anywhere from, it looks like 3 months to about 4 years of age, going by their teeth. They'll get training involved, and then we will rehome them. So we're guesstimating that Frank is about 4 years old and Delilah is about 3. Frank and Delilah are a bonded pair. Every morning when I come in, they are wrapped around each other, so you can tell they've been together for a long time, right? So we want to make sure we, again, adopt them out as a pair. So we have no clue of their background. Animal control down in Okeechobee called us that they had 9 lab mixes that were on the next table to be euthanized. So thank you to Hannah and her friends down there. They were able to help us out, and we were able to get these guys up here. So we're going to actually leash train them. We have quite a large staff, and every single kennel tech works on leash breaking the dogs, right? So we want to make sure when they get adopted, they're leash trained so they're able to go and walk comfortably with their new family. So far we've had them around 3-year-olds and 1-year-old children. They wrapped around the kids and played with them, didn't bump them, didn't knock them, but they gave them the love and the respect and the kisses that they needed. They are all friendly, they all want to play. They do not know each other, but we do get them all together and keep them active, and we want to keep them as social as possible. We have 2 dogs that have been selected for therapy dog programs. So they're going to be going and being trained as service dogs for mobility purposes.
Animal Outtakes is produced by Dante's Den Foundation, a nonprofit group dedicated to creating the best life for dogs. If you would like to learn more about Dante's Den, donate, or volunteer, visit our website, dantesden.org. We hope you had fun and learned a thing or two along the way. And we'll be back here again next week with even more animals and some wild adventures. Until then, thanks for watching.